Stop now. No one else should see this first. If the enemy discovers it first, they will use it against you. These secrets can only be in your hands. Spiritual attacks exist. The angels saw the spiritual attacks you've been exposed to, such as intense fear, constant doubt, and confusion without a clear cause. That is why spiritual protection is not optional. It is necessary for your well-being. You didn't arrive here by accident. The angels guided you. Your curiosity brought you to this moment. Your breakthrough begins here. Don't get distracted. Take a deep breath and prepare to discover. The angels have guided you here at this very moment. Seal this message and allow the connection to be complete. Subscribe now and write amen to remain in divine connection. A strong connection with the divine is your greatest defense. The angels didn't bring you here by mistake. They brought you here to prepare you for this moment. Stay until the end, because what follows may change the way you walk your spiritual path. Here, what you need to nurture your spirit and move forward with strength, clarity, and obedience will be revealed. Protection. There are truths you cannot afford to ignore. Your mission is too important, and the forces rising against you are real. You are not prepared to face them without order, care, and spiritual discipline. That's why this message is direct. It's not meant to scare you. It's meant to alert you. Now, let's begin with something key: the importance of silence. The importance of not talking about everything with everyone. The angels know this. Not everything God shows you should be told. Not every revelation should be shared. When you speak prematurely, you expose yourself. When you explain your calling to someone not meant to hear it, you weaken your protection. Many attacks don't begin with hate. They begin with questions. They begin with curiosity. They begin when you let your guard down and trust someone who wasn't sent to walk with you. This is not distrust. It is obedience. It is spiritual care. Angels command silence at certain stages because they know what you cannot yet see. To guard is not to hide. To guard is to protect. And if you don't understand this, your path becomes more difficult than necessary. The importance of silence. As one of the chosen, there are things you must keep to yourself. Perhaps you already know this. The people around you sense that there is something different about you. Some get closer. Others are uncomfortable. Not everyone has your best interests at heart. And not everyone can understand the path you're taking. That's why this is one of the first lessons. Learning to keep silent. It's not about lying. It's about having good judgment. About knowing what to say, when to say it, and to whom. This is key to your protection. Spiritual protection. Emotional protection. There are truths that are just for you. There are understandings that shouldn't be shared with just anyone. And yes, there are also weaknesses that only a few should know about. Why? Because not everyone understands. Some mock, others doubt, and there are those who use your own words against you. Those who are chosen are often misunderstood, and when they don't understand you, they expose you. That's where the risk begins. Even Jesus warned about this. He cautioned against saying everything to everyone. Jesus was clear. He said that not everything sacred should be given to just anyone. Matthew 7 verse 6. As a chosen one, you carry knowledge, guidance, and spiritual authority. And not everyone is prepared to receive that. Not everyone respects it. That's why you need protection. You weren't called to share every part of your journey. You weren't called to explain every spiritual experience you have. There are people who aren't at the same level of understanding. And when you share too much, you expose yourself. This is where judgment comes in. Discernment in every conversation. Not everyone deserves access to what God has entrusted to you. This is not pride. It's responsibility. Now, we're going to get into the first key point. The first secret you must keep to protect yourself. Secret number 1. Protect your calling. Secret number 1. Protect what God shows you. What you receive in the Spirit is sacred. Not every revelation should be spoken aloud, much less shared with people who lack spiritual understanding. As one of the chosen ones, you will receive direction and clarity that others will not understand. Some will be confused. Others will laugh. That doesn't mean you're wrong. It means they aren't ready to understand what has already been shown to you. This has always been the case. Prophets knew when to speak and when to remain silent. Not everything was said immediately. Not everything was explained to just anyone. They understood the weight of what they carried. They knew that sharing prematurely would have consequences. When you speak too soon, you expose yourself. When you speak to the wrong person, you weaken your defenses. That's why the angels command caution. They command silence at certain times. Not to limit you, but to protect you. If you don't understand this, others can use what God gave you to hold you back. Speaking carelessly can bring you ridicule. It can bring you rejection. And it can also open the door to spiritual attacks. What you receive is not for casual conversation. It is not to satisfy the curiosity of others. It is something God gave you to guide and strengthen you on your path. When you share things without thinking, others can minimize what you say. Or worse, they can twist your words and use them against you. Let me be clear. This doesn't mean you should never speak up. There will be times when the Spirit guides you to speak up. And when that time comes, you'll know. Until then, guard what has been entrusted to you. Trust the inner understanding God placed within you. If you receive that wisdom, it was for a reason, and part of that reason is to protect it until the right time. If you've ever spoken from the heart and been misunderstood, now you understand why. The world isn't ready for everything you know. The path of the chosen one is not easy. And one of the reasons is that they carry knowledge that others cannot yet understand. But that's okay. You're not here to convince everyone. You're here to fulfill your mission. And part of that mission is knowing when to be quiet. Now, let's move on to the next point. Secret number 2, protect your weaknesses. Secret number 2, protect your weak points. As one of the chosen ones, you also have weaknesses. That doesn't diminish your worth. You're still human. There are moments of doubt, weariness, and fear, but these weaknesses shouldn't be revealed to just anyone. Not everyone will treat you with care. Many don't offer support. On the contrary, they use those moments to attack you, sometimes emotionally, sometimes spiritually. Not everyone knows how to be careful about what they hear. When you trust the wrong person, you expose yourself, and that exposure weakens you. The angels warn about this. Not everyone who seems close is. There are people who listen only to repeat what you say or to speak ill of you behind your back. If they know where you're vulnerable, they'll exploit it. That's why you need to be careful who you open your heart to. Not everyone deserves access to your inner struggles. This is not coldness. It is protection. It is obedience. Your path demands strength, and part of that strength is knowing who to trust. I'm not saying you should hide your humanity. We all need moments of support. We all need trustworthy people who can see us through tough times and still take care of us. But those people are few. They are not the majority. They don't appear by chance. They are recognized through prayer, with God's guidance, and with time. Don't give your trust away too quickly. Not everyone knows how to be careful about what they hear. Look at the example of Jesus. In his final hours, he did not expose his suffering to the crowd. He took only those who had already proven their loyalty. Even then, he remained careful and reserved. This teaches an important lesson. Your struggle should only be shared with those who have shown respect and loyalty, not with just anyone who asks. What you carry inside is important, and not everyone knows how to treat it well. Some will use your pain for their own benefit. You, as a chosen one, have a clear mission. The understanding you receive and the struggles you face are not for everyone. Remember this as you move forward. Not everyone is ready to listen. Not everyone is ready to understand. Take care of what God has entrusted to you. Protect your spirit. Not everything should be shared openly. Now we move on to the next point. Secret number 3. Be careful who you give your time and attention to. Secret number 3. Take care of your energy. Let's talk about this openly. Have you noticed that some people approach you for no apparent reason? They sense that there's something different about you. They don't always understand it, but they feel it. As one of the chosen, your presence affects others. That can be a good thing, but it can also become a burden. Your energy is limited. It's what allows you to fulfill your mission. And there are people who try to consume it. They're the ones who always need something. The ones who always bring problems. The ones who unload complaints, negativity, and conflicts. They take from you, but they don't give anything back. After talking to them, you feel tired, weak, Unclear? That's not your imagination. It's an internal signal. Something inside you is telling you that this relationship is wearing you down. Understand this well. You are not obligated to support everyone. Yes, you were called to serve, but not to empty yourself for people who do not respect what you carry within. Serving doesn't mean allowing abuse. Helping doesn't mean exhausting yourself. The angels command balance. They command care. Because if you weaken, your mission is affected. That's why you must learn to say no. You must know when to walk away. And you must recognize which relationships strengthen you and which ones drain you. You must be careful with whom you share your energy. Not everyone who seeks it deserves to receive it. Some only come to consume it. Others don't care about leaving you drained. That's why taking care of your energy is one of the most important secrets for a chosen one. Without it, you will feel weak. Without it, you will not be able to fulfill the mission God gave you. How can you protect your energy? First, recognize when someone is draining you. Observe your body, your emotions, and your spirit. If you feel exhausted after being with someone, that's a sign. God gave you intuition for a reason. Trust it. If someone consistently leaves you feeling worse than before, they're not contributing to your spiritual growth. You need to create some distance. Second, learn to say no. As one of the chosen ones, you often feel the need to help, guide, or heal. That is part of your nature. But even those who help need rest. You can't give if you're empty. Saying no is selfishness. Saying no is wisdom. It's a boundary that protects your energy. It allows you to save it for those who truly value it, and also for your own spiritual well-being. Third, be careful who you allow into your inner circle. Not everyone deserves access to your presence or your energy. The people you keep close should be those who support you, those who strengthen you, and those who respect the importance of your spiritual path. Surround yourself with those who contribute to your growth, not with those who only seek to take advantage of you. Remember the example of Jesus. He too was selected with his time. He didn't give himself completely to everyone he met. He had his disciples, his inner circle, and within that group, there were also levels of trust. Learn from this. Be wise about who you allow into your spiritual and emotional space. Secret number 4. Secret number 4. Keep your presence sacred. It's not just about your energy. It's about you, about who you are at your core. Your presence has a divine purpose. And as one of the chosen, you must understand its importance. Have you ever noticed how the atmosphere changes when you enter a place? Or how a few words can capture everyone's attention? That's not by chance. Your presence influences the spaces you occupy, and that's part of your calling. But with that presence comes great responsibility. Not everyone deserves to share their space with you. It may sound harsh, but it's true. You were set apart for a higher purpose, and not everyone can handle it. Some people feel intimidated by your presence. Others feel envious. Some will try to belittle you because you threaten their own self-image. As one of the chosen ones, you must be aware of this. You must maintain clear boundaries. Your presence is part of your mission. Do not allow others to weaken or contaminate it. That's why you should be intentional about the spaces you occupy and the people you allow to be near you. How to protect your presence. First, pay attention to the places you find yourself in. Some places carry negativity. As one of the chosen ones, you are more sensitive to these energies. Being in a place filled with hostility, envy, or spiritual darkness can affect you. Your presence can change the atmosphere, but it can also be affected by the energies of the place. Be careful about where you go and who you spend your time with. Second, understand that your presence is a gift. Not everyone deserves to be near you. This isn't about arrogance. It's about protecting the sacred within you. You can't expose your light in relationships or environments that diminish it. Make conscious choices. You're not here to be everyone's friend, confidant, or guide. Your mission is more important than that. Third, learn to value solitude. There will be times when you need to withdraw from the world, moments to recharge, to reconnect with the divine. It is part of your path as one of the chosen. Solitude also protects your presence from being overexposed. It's not loneliness in a negative sense. It's a way of preserving your spirit. When you step back, You allow your spirit to be renewed. You receive clarity, new insights, and strength for what lies ahead. Don't be afraid to take time for yourself. In fact, it's essential. Think about Jesus. He often withdrew from the crowds to be alone in prayer. He understood the importance of solitude to maintain his spiritual strength and his connection with God. If he needed that time, how much more do you? Your presence is powerful, but it also needs care and renewal. Solitude is key to that. Chosen ones, your energy and presence are your most important assets. They are the foundation of your spiritual power, your mission, and your ability to impact the world. But they are also fragile if not protected. You must manage your energy wisely and with discernment. You must treat your presence as what it is, a sacred gift. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not all environments are suitable for your growth. By setting boundaries, being prudent, and valuing solitude, you protect the essence of who you are. And by doing so, you ensure you are prepared to fulfill your divine mission. Secret number 5, the power of silence. As one of the chosen, silence is one of your greatest allies. We live in a world full of noise, where everyone wants to be heard. But there is power in knowing when to keep your word. This doesn't mean always living in secret or never expressing your truth. It means knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. That's why the great spiritual masters of history spoke little. Silence has a different power. It's a way of communicating with the divine that words cannot match. Think about how many times you've said something hastily or in frustration and then regretted it. Words have power. They can create or destroy. And once spoken, they can't be taken back. Silence, on the other hand, allows you to reflect, observe, and gather strength. When you choose to remain silent, especially when others expect you to react, you are taking control of your energy. In silence, you learn to observe, to discern, and to understand what lies behind situations that would normally provoke an emotional reaction. Silence acts as a shield. As the chosen one, there will be times when others will try to provoke you, and your strength will lie in your ability not to respond immediately. There will be times when others question or challenge your spiritual path. In those moments, silence can be your greatest shield. When you avoid responding to negativity or attempt to provoke conflict, you protect your energy and your peace. Not every battle is yours to fight. Sometimes, the wisest thing to do is say nothing. Look at the example of Jesus. He remained silent before his accusers. Although they questioned and mocked him, he chose not to defend himself. Why? Because he knew that his mission and his truth did not need validation from the world. He was certain of who he was and what he was meant to accomplish. As one of the chosen, you must adopt the same attitude. You don't need to justify yourself to those who don't understand your path. Let them talk. Let them question. Choose silence as your response. By doing so, you maintain control over your spiritual energy. Now, when to speak and when to remain silent. There will be times when you'll be called to speak. When the Spirit prompts you to share your wisdom or to stand up for a just cause, do so without hesitation. But you must be able to distinguish between a divine calling to speak and an emotional reaction. How do you know when? How do you know when to speak and when to remain silent? The answer lies in discernment. Before responding to a situation, especially one charged with emotion, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Will my words bring clarity or only fuel the darkness? Does my response serve my mission, or is it merely a reaction to someone else's ignorance or negativity? Most of the time, silence is the most powerful response. In silence, you maintain your dignity, your energy, and your focus. You deny others any power over you. And most importantly, you make space for divine wisdom to guide your next step. Secret number 6, the art of discretion. Discretion goes hand in hand. Secret number 6, the art of discretion. Discretion is related to silence, but it works differently. It's about knowing what to reveal and what to keep to yourself. As one of the chosen, there are aspects of your life, your spiritual path, and your mission that must remain hidden. This is not about living in fear or secrecy. It is about understanding that not everything needs to be shared. We live in a world obsessed with showing everything. Social media, constant communication, and the need for validation lead many people to expose every detail of their lives. For those who choose to be, this is dangerous. Your spiritual path is sacred. Not everyone is prepared to witness it. Why does discretion matter? Because it protects against unnecessary attacks. If you reveal too much about yourself, your plans, your struggles, or your achievements, you give others room to interfere in your path. Some will do it out of envy, others out of malice, and others won't even realize the harm they cause. You must allow your mission and your growth to develop with care and protection. If you share too soon, your path becomes vulnerable. You must be selective about what you share and with whom you share it. This doesn't mean you should never tell your story. There will be times when sharing your experience will inspire others. There will be times when Spirit will guide you to reveal aspects of your journey. But those decisions must come from divine wisdom, not from a desire for attention or validation. Protecting your spiritual progress is essential. Discretion is key to your growth. As you progress, you will receive revelations, breakthroughs, and moments of divine clarity. These are precious gifts meant to strengthen and guide you, but not everyone is ready to hear or understand what you receive. Sharing these revelations prematurely can cause misunderstandings, ridicule, or even spiritual attacks occur when others know too much. On both the physical and spiritual planes, information exposes. The more they know about your path, your weaknesses, and your plans, the easier it is for them to interfere with your progress. That's why discretion is essential. Keep your spiritual growth private until the time is right. Proceed with caution. Let the results speak for themselves when the time is right. Discretion also applies to your relationships. As one of the chosen ones, you will form bonds with people who walk a similar path to yours. These relationships are important for your growth, but not all of them need to be public. Some connections must remain private, reserved, because they have a specific purpose guided by the divine. This is especially important in romantic relationships. As the chosen one, you will attract people because of what you have inside, but not everyone is aligned with your mission. You must be careful about who you allow into your inner circle, and with whom you share the deepest parts of your life. Discretion in your relationships protects your path, your focus, and your purpose. Discretion in relationships protects the connection God allowed. It avoids external interference and unnecessary negativity. Now, let's talk about moving forward in silence. Moving forward quietly means making decisions, working, and growing without announcing each step. It means progressing without constant explanations. There's power in this because it allows you to grow without distractions, without external opinions, without unnecessary pressure. When you move forward in silence, you focus on your mission. You focus on your connection with God. You don't depend on the approval of others. And when the time comes to show results, no words will be needed. What has been built will speak for itself. Chosen one, silence and discretion protect you. In a world full of noise and constant exposure, your path is different. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you share. Be prudent about who you allow close to you. Not everything needs to be said. Not every situation needs an answer. By living with silence and discretion, you protect your energy, you protect your presence, and you protect your divine mission. Now, let's move on to the next point. Secret number 7. Master your emotions. Emotions are part of the human experience. Even as a chosen one, you will feel joy, sadness, anger, love, and frustration. But here's the difference. You can't let your emotions control you. To fulfill your mission, you must learn to master them. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It doesn't mean pretending they don't exist. It means understanding them. You need to know where they come from, why they appear, and how to direct them in a way that serves your purpose and doesn't destroy it. This is not easy, but it is necessary. Why is emotional mastery so important? Because as one of the chosen, you are a spiritual warrior, and every warrior must remain steadfast and focused, even in the midst of conflict. When emotions take control, you lose clarity. Your judgment becomes clouded. Your decisions cease to be wise. The enemy, both spiritual and physical, feeds on chaos. And if your emotions rule you, you become vulnerable. Vulnerable to manipulation. Vulnerable to mistakes you shouldn't make. That's why the secret is key to your journey. If you let your emotions control you, you open the door to distractions and defeats. Think of Moses. Even after leading his people out of Egypt, he struggled with his emotions. In a moment of frustration, he struck the rock instead of speaking to it as God had instructed him. This act of anger cost him entry into the promised land. Numbers 27:2. This teaches us that even the most chosen leaders can fall if they do not learn to master their emotions. How to master your emotions? First, begin with self-awareness. You must pay attention to your inner world. When you feel anger rising, sadness overwhelming you, or anxiety creeping in, stop. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What is the root of this emotion? Often, emotions are connected to deeper issues. Fears, unresolved traumas, unmet expectations. Understanding the root allows you to address the cause, rather than just reacting to the surface emotion. Second, practice emotional regulation. This means managing your emotions in a healthy and productive way. It's about learning to respond, not react. When you feel a strong emotion, don't act immediately. Take a moment to breathe, center yourself, and ask yourself, what is the wisest decision? This simple pause can prevent decisions you'll later regret. Remember, mastering your emotions doesn't mean ignoring or repressing them. In fact, repressing emotions can be dangerous. They don't disappear. They accumulate and eventually explode. Acknowledge what you feel, but don't let your emotions dictate your actions. You are the master of your emotions, not the other way around. Channeling emotions for spiritual strength. Your emotions can also be a source of power if you channel them correctly. When you feel righteous anger, for example, it can be used to drive positive change. Indignation and injustice can motivate you to take action and create transformation, both spiritual and social. Similarly, sadness can awaken compassion. It compels you to help and uplift those who are suffering. The key is to use emotions as a tool, not as a master. When you feel a strong emotion, ask yourself, how can I channel this into something productive? Can my frustration inspire me to persevere? Can my sadness deepen my empathy? Can my joy uplift those around me? By transforming your emotions into spiritual power, you maintain control of your path and align yourself with your divine mission. Secret number 8, maintain balance. Balance is the foundation of the chosen one's life. Without balance, even the most powerful spiritual warrior can fall. Balance keeps you grounded. It allows you to walk between the spiritual and the physical without getting lost in either. Maintaining it in today's world isn't easy. You're constantly pulled in different directions: work, relationships, responsibilities, and your spiritual path. If you're not careful, you can end up overwhelmed, exhausted, or disconnected from your higher purpose. How to maintain balance. First, prioritize your spiritual life. Your connection to the divine is the foundation of everything you do. Without it, you lose meaning and direction. No matter how busy your life is, make time each day for your spiritual practice. Prayer, meditation, reflection, or simply being in silence. This daily connection centers you. It gives you clarity and strength to face the challenges of the world. Second, practice self-care. You can't give what you don't have. You can't fully serve if you are empty. Your physical, mental, and emotional well-being is just as important as your spiritual health. Take care of your body with good nutrition, rest, and exercise. Take care of your mind by setting boundaries, avoiding toxic environments, and engaging in activities that bring you peace and joy. Remember, balance means taking care of your whole being, not just the spiritual aspect. Third, learn to say no. As a chosen one, people will approach you seeking your guidance, your light, your energy. It is part of your mission to help and uplift others, but you must also protect yourself from burnout. You are not responsible for everyone's healing. You cannot solve every problem. You must discern when to intervene and when to step back. Saying no is not selfishness. It is necessary to maintain your balance. Fourth, cultivate a balanced mindset. This means avoiding extremes, whether in emotions. Extreme behavior or beliefs can cause imbalance. Stand firm and seek wisdom in both spiritual and practical matters. Remember, you live in both worlds, the spiritual and the physical. Each has its place on your path. If you focus too much on one and neglect the other, imbalance will result. Balance in relationships. Balance is especially important in your relationships. As a chosen one, your relationships can either strengthen or weaken your spiritual path. Surround yourself with people who support your growth, understand the importance of your mission, and bring positivity to your life. At the same time, distance yourself from those who drain your energy or distract you from your higher purpose. But balance doesn't mean cutting off all contact with those who are suffering or need help. It means knowing how much of yourself to give and when to step back to recharge. You're not called to be a martyr for everyone's problems, but you are called to be a light. Balance allows you to fulfill that role without losing yourself in the process, maintaining a balance between solitude and connection. Finally, balance your time between moments of solitude and moments of connection. As we discussed earlier, solitude is vital for your spiritual renewal. It is in these moments of silence that you receive guidance, strength, and clarity from the divine. But equally important is your connection with others. As one of the chosen, you are here to guide, inspire, and uplift. This requires interacting with the world around you. The key is finding a rhythm that works for you. Spend enough time alone to recharge your spirit. But don't isolate yourself from the world completely. You have a mission to accomplish, and that mission requires you to connect with others. Balance solitude with meaningful connections, and you will see how your spiritual power grows with each interaction. Chosen ones, mastering their emotions and maintaining balance, are not just personal goals. They are essential for their survival and spiritual growth. Emotional mastery keeps you focused and in control. Balance ensures you remain grounded and aligned with your mission. Remember, you walk a sacred path, and every step requires awareness, discipline, and grace. By mastering your emotions and living in balance, you empower yourself to move through the world with strength, wisdom, and divine purpose. Secret 9. Protect your spirit. Protect your spirit from negative energies and attacks. As a chosen one, you are more spiritually sensitive than many. You perceive what others do not. You feel the energies of people, places, and situations. That sensitivity is a gift, but it also makes you more vulnerable if you don't protect yourself. Spiritual attacks exist. They can come from people, environments, or unseen forces, and they don't always manifest clearly. Sometimes they appear as extreme fatigue, confusion, constant doubt, fear without apparent cause, or even physical discomfort. That's why spiritual protection isn't optional. It's necessary for your well-being and for you to fulfill your mission. How do you protect your spirit? First, maintain a strong and constant connection with the divine. Your relationship with the Creator, with God, is your greatest protection. When you are aligned with Him, you receive clear direction, you receive peace, and you receive spiritual covering. That connection acts like a wall around your spirit. It doesn't make you untouchable, but it does keep you grounded. It gives you discernment to recognize what doesn't come from God, and it gives you strength not to absorb what doesn't belong to you. Prayer is not an empty ritual. It is direct communication. It is alignment. It is active protection. When you pray, you don't just speak. You also listen. And in that space, your spirit is strengthened. It protects you from the negativity and darkness that seek to harm you. How do you maintain that connection? Through daily spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, reading sacred texts. These practices are not optional. They keep you aligned with the divine. They keep you grounded. They keep you centered in truth, light, and wisdom. When you are spiritually strong, external forces lose power over you. They don't disappear, but they don't control you. Second, use spiritual tools to strengthen your protection. These tools can be prayers, spoken declarations, symbols of protection, or simply asking for divine help with authority and faith. One of the most powerful prayers for protection is the Lord's Prayer. It was taught by Jesus as a shield against evil. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. When you feel attacked, spiritually or emotionally, don't remain silent. Speak up. Declare protection over your life. Declare that you're covered. Declare that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Words of spiritual weight when spoken with intention and truth. Third, cleanse your energy regularly. Just as your physical body needs cleansing, so does your spirit. Negative energies can cling to you. They can come from charged environments, toxic people, or situations of constant stress. Spiritual cleansing is necessary. It can be through focused prayer, moments of mindful silence, or practices that help you let go of what is not yours. Visualize the light enveloping you. Imagine everything heavy disappearing. It's not fantasy. It's directed intention. Release those negative energies and return to a state of spiritual clarity. This is part of your responsibility as a chosen one. Now, pay attention to this. Recognizing a spiritual attack is key. Not every problem is a spiritual attack. Not every difficulty comes from the enemy. But as a chosen one, you must know how to identify the signs. Spiritual attacks often manifest as intense fear, constant doubt, and confusion without a clear cause. Suddenly, you feel disconnected from your purpose. You feel far from the divine. Things that once gave you strength now seem meaningless. You may also notice recurring conflicts in your relationships, a constant feeling of heaviness, negative thoughts that return again and again for no logical reason. When you notice these signs, don't panic. Fear is exactly what the enemy wants to provoke. Understand this clearly. It's an attempt to throw you off your path, to weaken your focus, to break your spiritual connection. In those moments, spiritual protection is not optional. It is urgent. Pray with intention. Ask for guidance. Ask for divine help without hesitation. Surround yourself with spiritual protection. Strengthen your connection. Don't isolate yourself from the divine. Don't give in to fear. Fear is the enemy's most effective tool. Stand firm. Trust in your faith. Trust in the connection that has already been given to you. Nothing has power over you when you are aligned with the divine. Secret 10. Maintain an unbreakable connection with the divine. The last secret is the foundation of all the others. Maintaining a strong connection with the divine. Without this connection, none of the other secrets hold. This connection is your lifeline. It is the source of your wisdom, of your protection, of your strength as the chosen one. Now listen carefully. How to strengthen your connection with the divine. First, and this is key, set aside time every day to be with the divine. Call it prayer, call it meditation, call it reflection. The name doesn't matter. That time is sacred. It's the moment you align with higher guidance for your life. It's when you receive clear direction, when answers arrive, when your path is ordered. Many chosen ones fall into the trap of always being busy. Work, relationships, responsibilities. All of that seems urgent. But let me tell you this straight. Neglecting your connection to the divine is the most dangerous thing you can do. When you disconnect, you become vulnerable. The chaos of the world begins to influence you. You lose clarity. You lose focus. And your spiritual protection weakens. When you're not connected, you start walking alone. And you weren't called to walk alone. Even Jesus, in the midst of his mission, would withdraw to pray. Luke 5 verse 16 makes this clear. He knew where his strength came from. It wasn't from the crowd. It wasn't from the activity. It came from his constant connection with the Father. That applies to you too. Second, learn to listen, not just to speak. Many pray, but few listen. The connection with the divine is not a monologue. It is a relationship. After praying, be silent. Allow guidance to come. Allow clarity to come. Sometimes the answer doesn't come as a voice. It comes as a certainty, a clear direction, a peace that cannot be explained. Third, live in alignment with what you receive. The connection is strengthened when you obey. It's useless to receive guidance if you don't apply it. Every act of obedience strengthens your connection. Every aligned decision keeps you protected. When you do the right thing, even when it's difficult, your connection becomes stronger. Fourth, return to the divine at all times. Not just when you have problems. Not just when you are confused. Say thanks. Ask questions. Submit your decisions. Make the divine a part of your daily life, not an emergency option. When your connection is strong, nothing can throw you off your center. Not fear, not confusion, not attack, because you don't walk alone. You walk guided. This connection is what sustains your mission. It's what protects you. It's what keeps you standing when others fall. Of his connection with the Father. If Jesus needed that time to recharge, how much more do we need it? As the chosen one, you must prioritize this connection above all else. Now let's talk about another key point to strengthen your connection with the divine. Develop spiritual listening. Many approach prayer or meditation as if it were a one-way conversation. They talk, they ask, they plead, but they forget to listen. The divine is always speaking. Through your intuition, through signs, through recurring situations. The problem isn't that God doesn't speak. The problem is that often there isn't enough silence to hear. Spiritual listening requires stillness. It requires turning off the noise of the world and also the noise of your mind. When you learn to listen, you realize something important. Many answers are already within you. The divine speaks through that inner voice, that clear impulse, that direction that comes not with fear, but with certainty. But to listen, you have to stop. You have to make space. Now listen to this carefully. To surrender to the divine will. Maintaining a strong connection with the divine also requires surrender. And no, surrendering is not surrendering to defeat. It is not passivity. Surrender is trust. It's trusting that there's a plan, and that that plan is for your own good, even when you don't understand it. As the chosen one, your path won't always make sense to others, and sometimes it won't make sense to you either. There will be moments of confusion, moments of waiting, moments where it will seem that nothing is moving forward. But every challenge, every lesson, every process, it's all part of your spiritual growth. When you surrender to divine will, you stop fighting the process, you stop forcing doors, and you learn to walk with confidence. You trust even when you don't see the result. You trust even when the path is uncomfortable. That trust strengthens your connection, and a strong connection keeps you grounded. The journey will feel heavy. There will be times when you don't see results, times when you wonder if you're really listening to God. This is part of the process. Faith isn't about feeling secure all the time. Faith is about moving forward even when you don't understand what's happening. As the chosen one, you don't walk by sight. You walk by trust. You trust that the Creator doesn't make mistakes. You trust that every delay has a purpose. You trust that every trial is shaping something within you. Faith is strengthened when you choose to believe even without visible proof. It is strengthened when you choose to obey even when the path is uncomfortable. It is strengthened when you continue to pray even when you feel nothing. That is mature faith. That is real faith. Maintaining an unwavering connection with the divine also means remaining faithful in small daily habits. Not just when everything is going well. Not just when you need something urgently, but every single day, in consistency, in discipline, in silent obedience. When you make God your daily priority, your spirit grows strong. Your mind becomes clear. Your heart finds stability. And even if the world around you is unstable, you remain steadfast. As a chosen one, this connection is your anchor. It's what keeps you standing when others fall. It's what protects you when others get lost. It's what guides you when there are no clear signs. Never forget this. Everything you do, everything you protect, everything you hold on to, everything you master, it all rests on this relationship with the divine. Without it, you wither away. With it, you move forward. And now that you know these secrets, it's no coincidence. You didn't get here by accident. This message isn't for everyone. It's for those who are ready to live with awareness, discipline, and unwavering faith. The way of the world may feel unbearable, but in those moments, remember this. The divine never abandons the chosen. You're always being guided, even when you cannot see the path ahead. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is a decision to keep moving forward despite it. It is the inner certainty that no matter what happens, you are on the right path. When you maintain faith, you strengthen your connection to the divine. That connection will carry you through any storm. Chosen ones, the path you walk is sacred, but it is also filled with challenges. Spiritual protection and a strong connection to the divine are your greatest defenses. They are the foundation that allows you to walk this path with confidence, wisdom, and strength. Never neglect your connection to the divine. It is the source of your power, your guidance, and your protection. Keep your spirit aligned. Protect your heart, and trust that every step you take is orchestrated by the divine. With these secrets, you are now equipped to walk the path of the chosen with courage and spiritual authority. You are not alone. Higher powers guide you every step of the way. Trust in them and remember that you are here for a purpose far greater than you can imagine. Thank you for walking this path with me. Stay safe, stay connected, and above all, stay faithful. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Let's continue building a community of souls dedicated to spiritual growth and personal development. Stay blessed and continue to shine your light. Until next time, thank you for being part of Message from the Angels.